Hello, I'm George Dean from cardollars.com. Today we're going to talk about paint thickness gauges. As an auto broker and dealer and wholesaler here in the Dallas area, I'm asked from time to time, George, do I need one of those paint meters? And we're going to talk about that today. In fact, I now think that having a paint thickness gauge is one of the required tools in the business. Now, having said that, one thing I did is I ordered the paint thickness gauges from several different manufacturers. I used them all at the auction to see which one I liked best in the auction setting on a day-to-day basis. And I picked two. One is the Alcometer 311 Highline and the PosiTest DFT Combo. Both of these units are industry standards, especially the Alcometer. You'll see most of the guys at the auction carrying this. PosiTest is the new kid on the block for car buyers. But PosiTest has been around a long time in the measuring device market. Both of these measure both aluminum and steel, which is very important. Some cars have steel and aluminum, and if you don't have a gauge that can measure both, you're only going to get half the story. So if you're going to spend the money, get one that measures both steel and aluminum. Now, let me show you the Alcometer 311 Highline. This is what it looks like. You've seen it at auctions with probably other guys using it. You just set the probe down on the car and the display reads out up here. This reads in mils. The PosiTest. One of the things I like about the PosiTest is notice how much larger that display is. Makes it a whole lot easier to read at the auction. I just like being able to glance at it and I can immediately see what the reading is. The PosiTest, like I said, reads steel and aluminum. It also measures in mils and microns. And microns are important not for car buyers, but more for detailers and body guys that are doing a lot of wet sanding. So let me show you how to use this thing. You just stick the probe on there and it reads. This reads 11.5, which as you use a meter, you will discover that most paint jobs are somewhere in the 3s and 4s and 5s. 11.5, immediate suspect. Let's read what the door is. The door reads 5.3. And let's just look back here at the quarter panel. 4.2. Now, the 4.2 versus the 5.3 doesn't bother me at all. That's within a range in which is acceptable. But when you went up here to the front and it was 11 point something, right there it's 12. That is too big of a variance for that to be factory paint. Okay? Now, one of the things about both of these meters, not only do they read steel and aluminum, which is really important, they're also 3% gauges. They're the most accurate gauges out on the market. There's some cheaper versions out there, but they're 5% meters. The range in which they'll measure something is much larger. If it's 10 mils, this meter and the Alcometer will read 9.9 to 10.1. A 5% gauge will read from like 9.1 to 10.9. Way too big of a range. The narrower the range, the better for you. Now, let's come back and look at the Sienna, and you're going to see what no paint work readings look like. On the Sienna, hold on. Put on the pinstripe. That don't work very well. 4.6. 4.9. 4.6. 4.9. Those readings would indicate that this is factory paint. And one of the things I recommend you to do to learn these things is go to a new car store and on the weekend or when they're closed or early in the morning, go stick your meter on those cars and you'll really start to get an idea of what thickness different manufacturers and different models of cars with their thickness and the consistency of the numbers. I really don't care what the number is as much as I care about the consistency. Now, both of these meters are top of the line meters. You can't go wrong with either one. The Alcometer is quite a bit more expensive than the PosiTest. And after using both at the auction, I do like the larger display on the Posi Test, and of course I like the price better. This comes with a 2-year warranty. The alcometer comes with a 5-year warranty. So those are two things to take into consideration. Now, one of the things that alcometer will say about the Posi Test is that, you know, it's got a nice large display on it, but if you drop the thing, you're going to break it. I've heard that from a number of alcometer guys. So guess what we're going to do today? I'm going to drop this on the concrete. I've done it a couple times at the auction. I've dropped it. It happens. It's in your holster. You pull it out of the holster, it drops. It's happened. Doesn't look like the display broke to me. They say the first time you drop it, it's going to break. Let's say that I pushed here. Whoops. I dropped it again. The thing still works. Don't believe everything sales reps tell you. This is real world experience dropping the Posi Test, and the thing just holds up just fine. So you can't go wrong with the alcometer, and for the price savings and the screen size, I tend to recommend the Posi Test. Thanks for listening.